Guys, the Arks of Omen book is here, and quite a few of the secondaries have changed. That's what we're going to walk you through today. Who's been affected the most and who's been affected the least. Just before we start on today's topic, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, notifications bell below down over there, so you know each time we release one of these videos and you don't miss out on the content. And if you enjoy our content, you'd like amazing discounts off our web store, or if you just like to support us, right? Come on, good people.
Nice.
Support us.
Put some fuel in the citron. Come on, guys.
Head over to glasshammergaming.co.uk and join the elite. Right, the topic of today, Dan, secondaries.
Yeah, some massive changes. Yeah, some huge changes in there. There's I like GW think that they've made some nice little tweaks here and there.
Yes.
But they're more than just tweaks because of other stuff that they've done.
The first thing we want to mention here, guys, is we're going to talk about the significant changes. The ones that have changed and we think they're going to make quite a big impact either to the meta or to those factions specifically. So if your faction's not mentioned, it's because we've gone through their secondaries and it doesn't look like they've changed much. Like, for example, like Drukhari. Yes, they've gone down from 4 to 3 secondaries, but the one they lost was not one that you were taking anyway. You kept your 3 good ones.
Yep.
So what is there to talk about?
Winner.
The 3 you used to take before, the 3 you're going to take now. All done. So yeah, if you don't notice your faction in here, guys, it's because they haven't had very much changes to their secondaries. Now, the first thing to mention is there's a few generic ones that have changed, and they've changed in the same sort of way, haven't they?
Yep.
Because there's assassinate behind enemy lines and grind them down.
Yes.
Now, they've all changed in the same way.
Yeah, so now you get bonuses if your troops do those, do any of those secondaries. And I think the reason behind this is with that new Arks of Omen detachment that everyone's talking about, that you have to take now, you don't have to take troops.
Yeah, you don't have to make them your compulsory choice.
If you wanted to keep your command points, you were taking troops. Now that's not the case, so they're giving you benefits in other ways for taking.
You know, I didn't think about that at the start until you mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's to incentivize taking troops. That's a pretty good way of doing it, because basically your troops only have to do a part of that mission. So for example, in Assassinate, it's a bit harder, they've got to go and kill a character. But if you look at Grind Them Down, right, you've got to kill more enemy units than they kill of yours. But if a troop unit killed any one of those that you've killed more, you get a CP, which is quite big, right? And Behind Enemy Lines has had another little buff. Behind Enemy Lines is like a double buff now. So I think that's like one of my favorite secondaries now. Because the first buff, of course, is if a troop unit is behind the enemy lines, then you gain a command point. However, just having one unit behind your opponent's lines now in their deployment zone is 3 VPs.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I think you started to see a lot more people now taking behind enemy lines because there was this kind of realization when Nephilim dropped that behind enemy lines was just better than engage.
Because engage, when you measure those 6 inches from the other quarters, it's actually a lot further away than you think it's going to be.
You've only got to go a little bit further to do behind enemy lines, which was a lot easier. So everyone started taking that and realised just how good it was. And then GW have just made it twice as good. Now it is now twice as easy to do behind enemy lines, and you're just going to smash it. And there's some armies out there that just do it quite naturally. You know, they are all over the board and all that kind of stuff. So
this is one thing I want to say is because the incentivization there of getting more VPs is now gone, in my opinion. That's why I think of the generic 3, behind enemy lines is going to make the biggest change to our meta. Because, right, guys, and this is why I say, because the incentivization, what I mean by that is, before, the incentive was there to go and put multiple units in your opponent's deployment zone to get the 4 points. Because you're like, turn 1, I might get 0 points, or I might get 2 points. And then in a couple of turns in the game, I'm only going to get 2 points. So once or twice, I'm going to have to go for this big push where I'll put multiple units in and get 4 points. Whereas now, the bonus for having multiple units has not changed. It's still only 4 points. So if one unit is 3 and like as many units as you want is only 4, an extra point, it really, the incentivization to go out there and get it and be more interactive is now gone. You just got to go, right, I'll take 4 fast moving units and I'll just send one of them out every turn. There's 12 points. I don't have to do anything else. So I think that's the one that will make the biggest change to the game. for sure.
Yeah, the standard ones, definitely. Yeah.
And then there was one that you pointed out, because I looked at those three and I was like, so these are the three standard ones, but they've all changed in the same sort of way. Right, they've all gained a buff, and it's the command point and stuff like that. I was looking on the very optimistic side of it, going, which ones have gotten buffed? And then Dan spotted one in the generic ones that's a nerf.
Yeah, psychic interrogation. You were seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
It was so easy, and it really let armies just sit back, like psychic armies, right? Or if you've got
some of them really took the mick.
Just sit back.
Psychers that could move again really took the mick out of it. Like Thousand Suns, warlocks that could be quickened after they did it. It was I come within 24, even though I can't see you. I've done my power. It's cast on a 3, and then the other guy's going to move me away again.
It was so easy, and there was no defense over it. I think that's why GW have done it. There was no way you could stop it unless you did. In a game, I've chucked all of my characters in a transport before.
Just leave them there.
Good luck getting through that steel hole. But there was no defense over it. But now the character has to be visible to that psyker. So if you're sneaky with your characters and you're putting them in the right places and stuff like that, then you
deny it very well.
You can't be interrogated. So it's now a real risky secondary to take. It's very, very difficult. So I just think you'll see it drop off the face of the earth.
But I like that as a change.
Because
it was too easy.
It was too easy. It was just not interactive at all. So now, if you're seeing a psychic secondary, it's either faction specific or it's warp ritual.
Yeah, absolutely massive. And then here we go. The buffs. Marines. The most buffed faction coming out of this set of rules, and this set of rules being Arks of Omen, plus the data slate, plus the points. Now, here's an interesting thing. Arks of Omen, lots of help for Marines. The data slate, buffs for Marines. The points, decreases for the Marines. So they have been buffed in some way by all three of the publications that we've had at the moment that are either buffing and nerfing. They've had 3 buffs. So I think they've come out of this hugely. No, they haven't had 3 buffs. They've been buffed across all 3, but they've had like 8 buffs, right? And some of them are their secondaries. So Codex Warfare is my favorite one. I think Codex Warfare is a great one because you can pick your doctrine now.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Codex Warfare hasn't changed. So GW have very much gone, we'll leave Marines as they are.
Yeah.
But then they've changed the way that the doctrines work, which has allowed you to stay in a doctrine if you want to.
And that's what we mean by they've been double, triple buffed in all 3 publications because they've buffed them in the data slate. And because of that, their secondary in Arks of Omen has now become more of a pick than it was before.
It's literally gone from 0 to hero.
Yeah.
You're getting 2 points if you kill a unit. Any unit you want if you're in the Devastator Doctrine with a heavy or grenade weapon. So before, you're getting 2 points. And they've given that one is the only one that's worth 2 points. And you're only getting that because that's turn 1, right? The chances of you doing that turn 1 are quite slim. Yeah. So let's give them a few more points. But I'm sitting in that. I am now an Iron Hands army with bristling with las cannons and melters and all that lot. And I'm sitting in it till turn 5. And I'm going to get 2 points for every single unit that I kill.
Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Time flash. Let's do it.
Ding, 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 ding,
this is a flashback. We're into flashback mode. Okay, we're now 2 years in the past. So at this moment in time, Iron Hands and Imperial Fists are absolutely everywhere. We have Broviathan and this artillery battery for Imperial Fists sat everywhere. Yeah. Flashback. Okay, we're back forward now. Now, guys, we're about to see Imperial Fists and Iron Hands everywhere.
Pretty much. Yeah,
we've gone back to that essentially.
Just dust them off.
Yeah, those 2 chapters are going to get the biggest buff here because, like we said, the secondary hasn't changed. So for killing units in the tactical doctrine with assault weapons and stuff, and then in the assault doctrine with melee weapons, those are still 1 point only. It's just, I didn't notice this. I thought I didn't know this because I don't play Marines that often. I thought all of them were 2. But then Dan pointed out, no, if you kill things in the assault, you only get 1, and then tactical is only 1. It's only really the Devastator that's giving you 2 points. Yeah. So I think it's such a big buff to all of the ones that get their super doctrine in the Devastator doctrine.
Yes, yeah.
Right? I think they're going to come out of this.
Yeah, they're the only ones who benefit from it. None of the other factions, but they are probably now the strongest Marine faction. So that's a cool buff for them. That's what you're going to be seeing.
And then we've got Shock Tactics. Shock Tactics is the next secondary as well. Now, we're at slight odds here because Dan really likes this one. I've got other views.
Yeah, I think Shock Tactics is awesome. When they made a change to it, they upped it, didn't they? Just by the 1 point.
Yes.
So it's the same. It's not changed from that old one. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's a great, like, you're flipping objectives. That is kind of what the game is about. So it's nice that you're getting rewarded for that. And changing it from 3 to 4 means you've only got to do that 3 times now in a game to get a really good score. Whereas before you're having to do it 4 or 5 or kind of something like that. So I think it's really cool. And but I've not heard of you were saying that you can try and deny it, right?
Yeah, so I agree with you. Only having to do it 3 times to get a good score is fantastic. Any secondary that you only have to do for 3 turns is great. We've seen that from Decisive Action in Tau. However, you look at that, and the reason why I don't think it's that good, Shock Tactics, is because I've been playing a lot of Chaos Marines. And in Chaos Marines, we've got the Long War, which is all about flipping objectives that your opponent's got as well. And I've noticed quite a few times, I don't often have the reach to get from my ruins all the way to my opponent's objectives. You only have to take a turn in the middle, then get there. But then what my opponents do sometimes, if I've taken the Long War, they just don't go for the middle one. Like a more experienced player won't go and trade with you on the middle objectives. Or they'll put something there that you're not going to shift in a turn. And then you're not really getting points for that because you can't get all the way to their 2 on their half the board and take them straight away. Unless you're Harlequins or something with immense speed. And then they just won't put anything on the middle one. And all of a sudden you lose out on a bunch of points. Don't get me wrong, taken the Long War sometimes and gotten like 12 points on it. But I've really had to fight for those 12 points. And my opponent has had to interact with me in the middle.
Yes.
There's been games where I've only got 3 points on the Long War.
Wow.
Over 5 games. And when you get to the top echelon of players that you play in the semi-final or final of a tournament, those are the players that are going to be like, I'll deny you 12 on that. And that's going to be the difference between...
And it is hard to do because what they've effectively got to do is clear you off those centre objectives, but not beyond those.
Yes.
So you're shooting or charging around that objective. So they're never getting 12. They're never getting 12 points. But I suppose if you can go 8, 8, 8, 12 at the end, like if they've gone second, then you can deny it, as you say, quite easily and still score quite well on the primary.
A lot of them as well, and this is not something that I think a lot of people appreciate, but the bonuses to primary missions are usually very easy. So if I've got to, for example, hold a no man's land objective because I'm playing conversion, holding my own 2 actually gets me 11, 11, 11, 11, and then 3 turn 1. So that's 47.
Yeah.
So I can get more than maximum by just holding my 2 and sitting there.
Yeah.
So I will 100% deny you all of the points for that secondary in that game because I just won't go and stand on the middle. Yeah, you'll get 45 primaries, but so will I.
Yes, yes.
So on those kind of missions, you give your opponent a chance to deny. And if you put something in their hands, like how we normally say about if you bring 10 vehicles, you're putting it in your opponent's hands, they bring it down, right? So you're giving your opponent choices, which ideally you want to take choices away from them.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. But of course it can work as well. Now, all the Marine books did get a slight nerf, didn't they? All the ones that have their own codex.
Yeah, very surprisingly, a lot of the secondaries got taken away from all the kind of the successors and all of the chapters, which I thought was quite strange. Like normally you want to give people more choice.
Yeah.
They've sat down, they've written these secondaries. Yeah, some of them were a bit rubbish, but like some people might be taking them just for a laugh and all that lot. But now you've just got the one. And it's it's going to make a big difference in where your army falls in the meta right now. Because if you kept the right one, then you're going to be doing all right. Because you've got some half-decent Marine secondaries to pick from as well. But then if you got the wrong one, or it's been changed,
you only have one. You don't have an option of like Blood Angel ones anymore.
You've got nothing. Yep. So the big winners that come from there that we can see are Blood Angels and Space Wolves. Blood Angels kept the one where they're getting into their opponent's deployment zone, Relentless Assault, which is what they want to be doing really. Space Wolves got the one where if they keep charging,
Warrior Pride,
they keep getting loads of points. So that's really cool. Little side ones to mention because I had a quick read through them and have a look. I think the Ultramarine one and the White Scars one is pretty good. It's doing what they want to be doing. You're scoring points for doing what that army wants to be doing anyway.
Yes.
However, they're not like Blood Angels, Space Wolves level, but they're all right.
Yeah.
They're kind of good.
Blood Angels are a 50-50, guys. Don't get too happy, Blood Angels players. Space Wolves are the ideal one because they kept their best one, Warrior Pride, but the others weren't that good anyway.
Yes.
Blood Angels have actually lost out, I think, in this.
That's true.
They've come out on top because their secondary that they've kept is the best one out of the ones that any other chapter gets. However, they've lost some of their crucial ones, like Death from Above, I believe it was called, where you could deep strike. And even if you killed units in a later turn to when you deep struck in, you got 3 points. That was massive. Fury of the Lost is the biggest loss of any Marine secondary, in my opinion. So they lost the best one out of everyone, but they've also kept the best one out of everyone. So they're like...
Like Space Wolves were only taking Warrior Pride.
Exactly.
Blood Angels were taking 3 of their own secondaries, and you've only got 1 now.
So they've been affected in the biggest way, in my opinion.
Yes.
And the last one to mention is Dark Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest loser, right?
One. Yeah.
I think they're the biggest loser.
Yeah, that's that 1 second. So they kept their best secondary, and then they made that secondary worse. Which is quite weird. Yeah, so before they could sit on an objective that's way back in their own deployment zone and just keep controlling it and score their 15 points. So I'm sure you would initially look through the book and go, oh, wicked, I kept my amazing secondary. But it's now... it can't be an objective in your deployment zone. So, and you score it in your command phase. So holding an objective not in your deployment zone in the command phase, even if you are transhuman, is very hard to do.
We've seen it, guys. If you look at Sisters and Defend the Shrine, it's basically Defend the Shrine. However, it must be uninterrupted and you must be holding it in your command phase. You can't move on to it. And score it at the end of your turn like you can with the Shrine. It's like a way worse version of the Shrine.
Loads worse,
Yeah, so they've come out as the biggest loser. Now we have Dan's faction. Dan's faction up next that he absolutely loves.
Yeah, so Sisters, that's probably one of the first ones I went to. Went straight to Sisters to have a look to see how they got nerfed. And it's actually a pretty good result, I think, for them. So 2 of their secondaries stayed the same. They've still got their Shrine. And they've still got their
action
Sacred
Grounds.
Sacred Ground, that's what we remembered. And the other one that they've still got is Leap of Faith.
God, I say it's his faction, but he doesn't know anything, does he? He's like...
they go, what secondaries you on? I'm like, it's the action one.
I've got the objective one and the action one.
It's the action one, right? The one that they've kept Leap of Faith, but it's now changed. I'd say it's slightly harder now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Leap of Faith was kind of an easy 12 before. You're just using dice on advances or charges or shooting or saves, whatever. You just get that 12. Now you've got to give up your good dice.
See, I think the opposite. I think it's become very, very good now because isn't there a character? I'm not sure if this is right or not. I might be thinking old codex, but isn't there a character like Catherine or someone that gives you a 6 every turn?
Yes, there's the Triumph of St. Catherine that lets you turn a dice to a 6.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's when you use it.
Oh,
you can treat
maybe
it
it's
as
only
a 6.
for an act of faith.
Yes, I'm not sure. I don't think you physically change one. I think you can
it's treated
say
as a 6.
it's a 6.
Okay, because I was
maybe,
like, if she does that, then you're like, I'm taking this 200-point character, guarantee get 12 every game. Right?
That's true. That could be a little thing. I'm not sure. I didn't really think of that, but I think because you do want to be using those 6s because like it's a 4 or a 5 gets you 2.
It's hard to get the charges as well.
You want those charges, right?
I see that. You're kind of taking away from what your army does really well and their killing power and stuff to get points.
Whereas before, you could be using those 6s and scoring points while you're doing it.
While you're using them,
so that's why I preferred it, the old one, but their secondaries
because it was for everyone you use. So before, you were using them to get points. Now you've got to sacrifice them to get points and still try and do what you wanted to do. So it is harder.
Yeah,
it is harder.
It is,
if it's that way, then it is harder.
So but I think looking at how it could have gone because their secondaries are ridiculous. I think they've come out very well. So Sisters are doing all right, I think.
Yeah. Then we have an army that I was using at the start of the edition quite a lot when their codex first came out, and then they got nerfed, and I still used them. Then they got nerfed, and I still used them. Then they got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and then I didn't use them for a very long time. This army has been through everything. But right now, they are definitely one of the armies I'm looking at going forward to playing in tournaments for myself, because I think they've actually come out looking very nice. From
Their
this.
win rate was so low. GW have spoilt them with buffs.
Yes.
They've got loads.
They've taken every nerf that they put in place away. All the nerfs are gone, and we got an insane buff in the data slate. So all of our nerfs are gone. Meaning, remember even the last one that they kept in place. So you remember the sit 4s to hit auto wound?
Yes.
That's back.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
It's been reversed all the way.
Oh, wow.
So now it doesn't cost 2 CP anymore.
I forgot about that.
It's gone to 1 CP.
Yes.
And then they've taken away the 5-up hits, do auto wound. It's 4s now.
Wow.
So now it's 60 shots.
Wow.
Yeah. And then half of them will just 30 auto wounds. Yeah. And Armor of Contempt is gone.
Yeah. And they're all like AdMech is traditionally all -1, -2, right? So that's a big
they're going to make a big comeback just with those few buffs there.
Yeah.
But then we gained a massive one in this data slate. Bionics now give you a 5-up invuln instead of a 6-up invuln. So your entire army has gotten a 16% survivability buff.
Yes.
When you get to the save.
Massive.
So you're still going to get through all the way to the save. Then you got a 5-up invulnerable on literally all of your cool stuff, right? Like everybody that has Bionics has now got a 5+. Yeah. So I think that's absolutely huge. But then when you look at their secondaries, tying in with those buffs that they've got, Accretion of Knowledge, I actually think is a brilliant one. That whole, if every vehicle you kill with a wounds characteristic of 8 or more, or is it more than 8? It's one of the two. It's either 8 or more than 8. And basically you kill any of these vehicles, you get 3 points. You've just got a better version of Bring It Down.
Yeah, basically a kind of situational, but there's so many armies out there with some sort of it. Like you were saying earlier, even if they've only got 3 vehicles, it's 9 points.
Yeah, but on top of it, if you kill any model with a relic or a warlord trait, you get 3 points as well. Yeah. So you're like, okay, you've taken 2 rhinos and a drop pod. You've got to use them to get to me. And then if I kill 1 character in your army, I've just gotten 12 points. Yeah, 12 for killing 3 transports and a character. I mean, it's insane, right?
Yeah, with how killing they are now.
That's a very, very good secretary. And then we've got Hidden Archaeovault, which I think is okay. It's kind of like Defend the Shrine. However, you don't lose points at the end of the game for it. Yeah. You get 5 if you're holding your shrine, your hidden vault. But the caveat is your opponent chooses it.
Your opponent chooses it, but it can't be in their deployment zone. Yeah. So it's in the middle of the board.
It's one of the 3 in the middle in No Man's Land, or one of the 4 in No Man's Land. But you get 5 points every time.
For 5 points, it's worth being anywhere on the board.
And you don't lose any if they're holding it at the end of the game. So I actually think it's situationally incredible. Against some armies, you won't want to go anywhere near them. And in those games, you won't want to take it. But against quite a few others, like in the gun line mirrors and stuff, it's going to give you a big advantage.
That's it,
Massive advantage.
Yeah, against the gun line, they can't really do anything about it, to be fair. So that's a good one.
So they've come out very, very good. And then we've got Astra Militarum.
I'm sick of hearing about Astra Militarum.
I thought they were going to get a lot of nerfs. We heard that they were going to get, some nerfs or some FAQ
they should be
or
getting
something.
A lot of nerfs.
But they came into this like literally unscathed. Yeah. A few points upgrades on tanks have gone up, or I might be thinking about someone else there. But that's it. Yeah. Like everything is really insane. Does a lot of damage, survivable, and has not changed. Right? So that's crazy. Their only secondary that's changed though is Inflexible Command, and it's gone better. Yeah. So Inflexible Command was their easiest one.
Yeah. I know,
and it's gone better. Why not make one of the other ones that say was a little bit harder, easier to do?
I do genuinely think that's a copy-paste error. I think they've come up with a few different ideas of it, and then they've put the final one in the codex, and then they've copy-pasted like an earlier version that they made. Yeah. Because why would you make that even easier? It's stupid as it is.
It's crazy. So essentially, you're getting 2 points, 1 point, and 1 point for doing 3 different things. But then there was a bit of the objective at the bottom which said if you killed an enemy unit with a unit that was being affected by an order, you got 1 extra point for that round. Now you get 2. Yeah. And you're like, what if my 10 Cassakins kill a scout? I get 2 points. Yeah. On top of the other 3 points I'm getting for this secondary. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's a bit crazy.
I think that's a bit too much.
God are going to be a bit mental for a little bit.
You can max that out in 3 turns. Yeah. And I mean, like, fairly reliably. You can get 15 on that in 3 turns. Yeah. Which I think is... No army... Remember we were saying before, no army should be able to get 15 reliably. That should be a task.
Yes.
Which we've seen them do with quite a few other things now.
Yeah.
Because how many times do we talk now and we go, oh, if you do that for a good 3 turns or a good 4 turns, you can get 12 on that.
Yeah.
And that's where you want everyone to be.
How it should be. That is how it should be.
And then guard come along and go, oh yes, in the first 3 turns I can get 15 reliably. So watch out. Mad.
Yeah.
And then talking of, we're not seeing very often.
Talking of which,
yep,
they could do exactly the same. So Grey Knights, you don't see them very often.
Yes.
Now I think they've had a lot of points reductions. You definitely might start seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
So they've had some points reductions, and now they've got this cool secondary buff as well. They were taking it all the time anyway. I don't think
I've played against Grey Knights in 9th.
Oh, okay.
Genuinely, not even once. I don't think I've played them even once. So I didn't even know about this secretary. Not looked at it because I've never played them and I've never played against them.
It's because you're not repping the mid-tables. That's why.
Represent.
I'm in the mid-tables with all the Grey Knight players. So I've played them a few times, and I don't think once they've not taken Teleport Assault. It was a really easy stratagem anyway to do. So all you've got to do basically is shunt or gate or deep strike. And if you kill a unit, you got 4 points. So nice and easy to do, but it's now worth 5 points. So you can shunt your little unit across the board, kill some Kroot, and go boom, 5 points. Nice and easy. So big upgrade for them there, secondary wise, which is nice. And then like with their points reductions and things like that as well, that can be cool. And I've also seen that they've been updated to now work with the demon saves. So their warlord traits and stuff like that are ignoring demon saves, not just invulnerable saves.
Which is cool. They're
nice.
They're demon
hunters.
hunters.
That they're now demon hunters and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
And now I'm very, very, very sad.
Oh yes.
Because there's 3 factions here. 2 of them like my favourite factions, and then another one was one that I was playing right now, and all 3 of them have got nerfs, and I'm not very happy.
Oh yes, loads of nerfs.
Not very happy. Look how happy he is. He's like, oh yes, man, he's unhappy. Woo!
Loads of nerfs, and Eldar is not on that list.
So these are my armies that I think have been affected in a big way, and unfortunately they've all been affected in a negatively big way. First of all, Thousand Sons. They've been hit hard. Understandably, I can see, they had a 70% or 75% win rate. Tzeentch did, like Tzeentch as a whole. Yeah. It's big. Like, Flamers have taken a nerf when you ally them now. So Thousand Sons are worse if you take Flamers with them. And then Armor of Contempt is gone, so they're a lot less survivable. And now we've lost Wrath of Magnus. So I think they've been hit twice because, in my opinion, Armor of Contempt armies that could play a passive game were insanely good.
Yes.
They had a lot of legs and a lot of strength, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think losing Armor of Contempt and your passive secondary, I think puts them in a fairly bad spot there.
Yeah.
They've got to go out and play the game now, and they're less tough while playing the game. So I think they've been hit quite hard with losing.
They were head and shoulders above everyone.
Yeah, they were.
It had to be done.
Yeah.
I think GW have taken not too strong a step. I think you can still build Thousand Sons to be quite cool. Maybe not uber competitive. They've still got a massive mortal output, and they still have other secondaries that they can score very well.
I do not think we'll be seeing them on top tables at events anymore.
You don't think?
I think they've been knocked from S tier to below A tier.
Oh,
I think they're like a B tier average army now.
Interesting.
Genuinely.
Because they do still have a lot of damage output.
Yes, they do.
And they do still have some good secondaries.
Some.
They play banners very well. They play. They've still got the action on the objective. They've still got those kind of options that they can play with. But they did lose one of their best secondaries.
They lost the best one, and it's with the Armor of Contempt loss.
Yeah,
it's with the Armor of Contempt loss together. And what they were is they had an okay amount of output, but they were very survivable. So they'd kill a lot and then not lose so much back, and that's why you could play the game with them. But now you'll lose a lot back.
My Striking Scorpion went into a guy with a 3-up save and gave him a 2-up save.
Yeah, but you're going in there with 1 damage. You're playing the game wrong.
Screw Thousand Sons.
Okay, maybe I'm a little bit biased. Whatever.
You deserve it. Right.
And then...
next. Harlequins. Like I said, I love Harlequins.
You keep mentioning the armies I'm playing, and they're all losing everything.
I love Harlequins just because, Harlequins are cool and they're an elf, and I love my space elf. Manny loves Harlequins because they were insanely broken.
And our army looks cool.
Yeah, it is one of our better painted armies.
I didn't paint it. David painted it, but that's besides the point. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look cool. The only real change there. See, they've got a bit of a nerf, but a bit of a buff with other changes as well. So the one big change is in deadly performance. Now you had to get a unit into your opponent's deployment zone, and that tied very, very well with behind enemy lines. So that's why you would use those two in combination all the time. Now it's got to be a core unit that is in their deployment zone, so you can't send this boat off 22 inches and sit and just kind of send empty boats out there and do that. You'd see that as a nerf. You'd see that as a nerf,
change, right?
I totally agree. It's very hard to get their turn one and all that kind of stuff. But there is that stratagem. You can deep strike Harlequins, and there is the stratagem to pick a unit up and put it down. So that's a core unit that you can just chuck and deep strike into their back lines. That gets you deadly performance for 3 points, and it gets you behind enemy lines for 3 points, and it gets you a command point because they're a troop. So it's a bit of a nerf.
It's ups and downs.
They're still very good until you realise they've got a 5-up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
The same as an AdMech.
Same
as an AdMech Raging.
That's the thing. They've only taken a slight hit on that bit, but then on the secondaries, but the other nerf, worse than they're invulnerable by one everyone. Imagine AdMech, right? They got buffed to the invulnerable save of a Harlequin now. But they're half the points.
Yeah.
What?
Strange. It's a strange one.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
It's an interesting choice.
Of all the rumours, because there were a load of rumours out there before. That was the
fake.
one I was thinking, nah, you guys are being silly.
I thought it
that
was
one won't
fake.
change.
Yeah. And I was like, even if they do, it's going to be on the boats. Because the boats are already can't re-roll to hit and -1 to hit and
I would
stuff
understand
anyway.
if it was just the boats.
So put the 5-up input on the boats, but to just go, characters, bikes, everything, I was like, man.
Or even the other way around, like if they kept it on the transports, on the boats, and took it off all the infantry, because, your argument's there that the transport is tougher than a dude.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'd understand that. If they did with something like that, you wouldn't be too disappointed, but your entire army, imagine every single data sheet in your book losing a save.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's harsh.
Because they don't have good armor saves either.
No.
That's the whole reason.
It was already swingy anyway, these little toughness 3 guys. You're all slightly below on your 4-up invuns. The squad goes. And now you're even more likely to do that.
I was hopeful. I was reading all these rumours and I was thinking, okay, I don't think you're right, guys, but even if you are right, I think GW will give us our Laughing God rerolls back then.
Yeah.
And they haven't.
Yeah.
So no, they've gone down. Now,
so secondary-wise, they've not changed anything, but in other ways, their secondaries don't really matter.
For sure.
So
now on to the last, and it's the biggest and the best. It's not really, because it's not there anymore. Orcs, they went down from 4 secondaries to 3 secondaries. However, the one that they've lost is the biggest and the best, which was being used literally all of the time.
Yes.
So they've still got some good ones that get the good bits, and Green Tide, those are still there. But the biggest and the best is gone, which was one where like your war boss could just go and get you a load of points on it on his own. Sitting fairly safely, reliably, and not having to do that much in the game. So that was a secondary that you were getting quite a few points. It was like 10 to 12 solid points.
It's true. It didn't make much sense though, did it? A war boss sitting at the back, set on an objective.
But it was on an objective in no man's land.
Yeah.
He was having to go out. It was kind of like defend the shrine, but with only one character. Right?
Yeah,
it was good, but I don't think it was overpowered. I don't think there was any reason to get rid of it. So I think that's a little one. Orcs have taken a little nerf there, but that's a tiny one. That's not. And this is why, guys, we were saying if your faction's not on here, don't worry too much about it because see, the Orcs have just about made it, and that was our borderline. We were if you've taken a nerf that's even less than that, we're not talking about you.
Exactly, yeah. Because they can still do the standard ones very well.
Yeah.
Like they can get behind enemy lines. They can do banners. They can do those very well.
But this is the thing. This is why it was worth putting on the list. In my opinion, is that all the ones that they're good at are in the categories of their other ones anyway. Green Tide is in Battlefield Supremacy. It's about being all over the board.
Oh, yeah.
Get the good bits is in banners or run. So all of these ones already have some in. So, because what was great about the biggest and the best was in the the no mercy, no respite category. So that's what made them so good. So now you're going to have to find another avenue of getting points. Because it's not like you've lost a secondary that was in a good one, like Battlefield Supremacy, and then you're like, oh, but I'm good at doing Battlefield Supremacy anyway. It's you've lost one in a category when the other ones aren't great. They're like, grind them down and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little bit harder for orc players, in my opinion. That's why I thought it was worth going on the list, for sure.
Oh, well, shame. Screw orcs.
As if it's going to end the video like that. On a more positive note, though, guys, we've both been looking through these secondaries. We actually think they're gonna make for a very interesting meta now.
Yeah.
So quite happy with them all overall. I think both of us are. I think they look very interesting. Like I'll just have to keep other armies instead of the ones I like because they've been hit twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
But my Mech are back.
He's a huge Harlequin fan, but let's see how long they stay on the table for, shall we?
Hey, my Mech are back, you know, I'll just get them out. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. We hope you've learned a lot about these secondary changes, the same as we have. Loads of other videos have been dropping this weekend as well, guys, so go and check them out on the channel as well. And if you're watching this far and you haven't hit subscribe, do it right now. Do it. It's popping up in the corner right there.
Do it! Do it!
Hit that button, hit the notifications bell so you know every time we release one of these videos and you don't miss out on any content. And if you enjoy our content and you'd like amazing discounts off our web store and you'd like to just support the channel in general, then head over to glasshammergaming.co.uk and join the elite. And we'll catch you on one of the other videos that you're watching this week because you're watching them all, right? Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
Live stream Warhammer 40k games, meta-analysis, tournament reports. Hi guys, I'm Manny. I am one of the co-founders of Glasshammer Gaming. I'm one of the current top 5 ranked ITC players in the world, and I play for my international team, Team England, and we are the current reigning world champions. So we started Glasshammer Gaming at the start because we play a very high level, and we realized that a lot of content creators online were more narrative and not really focused on the competitive aspect of the game, and we thought it'd be really cool if we made battle reports, live streams and tactics videos to help players improve in their competitive game, and also for people who are looking to start getting into competitive play, help them along the way and give them some tips. We also have an elite service, and if you join up you get more in-depth meta-analysis, competitive tournament reports, and even bigger discounts on our store, which are incredible in the first place, and you're basically getting some of the best discounts in the world. If you join up, you also get access to our Discord server, where there are lots of like-minded people who also want to be very competitive and play to the best of their ability, and you'll be added in there with all of them. There are different channels for every army, every faction, so you can talk to other players who play the same armies as you and improve together.